A game known as Growing My Grandpa. I don't know what the hell this is. Would you like to view the tutorial? This game is designed to be played with a mouse. The input required of you is based around clicking the mouse buttons. Only when pointing indicated by the index. Can you play? Okay. The second cursor mode is indicated by the cursor's image featuring a hand extending all fingers. This mode concerns interacting with objects inside the world, mainly picking up an object and moving it to another position. Place it. Oh. There will be many situations in Growing My Grandpa that will require you to pick things up, place things, grab things, or give things. Don't be afraid to experiment. Oh, I'm gonna fail at this. In order to expedite the cleaning process, you can use digits 1, 2, and 3 on your keyboard number row to reposition the trash can below. What? A variety of video options can be chosen. Hover over the small question mark in the top right provides an overlay related to available configs. Okay. The fuck is this? Week 1. I excused Adrian during music class today and spoke with her about her recent string of demerits. It was our first time meeting outside of our quarterly evaluations, and I believe it went well. I can certainly understand Miss Richardson's classroom observations concerning Adrian's emotional state. She was, of course, intensely shy when we first met. As I understand it, she is similarly withdrawn in her classroom activities and only speaks or acts when she absolutely must, something she simply will not do. Instead of participating in mandatory group activities, she will sit alone and accept that she will receive a demerit. Before the meeting, I read Miss Richardson's parent-teacher report, which allowed me to estimate some about Adrian's home life. The parents are well-educated and come from a prestigious background, but they lack time to properly nurture Adrian. She is often alone, and when she is not, the parents seem to not understand the importance of warmth and of affirmation when dealing with someone so young. Having two parents of this reserved and icy temperament exacts an inhibition in a child. The child's imagination is subdued, but only ostensibly, for it eventually finds its way into regular life. I surmised that I would be able to reach out to Adrian by way of make-believe. What the fuck? How are you liking your new house? You've told me you used to live close by, but it still can be a big adjustment, a new room, a new school. The basement, I like that. What? The basement? Yeah, well, there's a lot of cool stuff. Mom and Dad sent me down there. Your mom and dad made you go? Yeah, but there's lots of cool stuff. Well, that's not why they sent me down there, though. Why did they send you down there? Fighting? They were fighting, shouting. I came in to help and they shouted at me. They said, go clean up downstairs, so I went. That sounds tough. Do they fight a lot? No, well, they, It's alright, Adrian. Maybe you can tell me more about the basement instead. Okay, well, it was weird at first, the stuff down there, but cool, I found something living, sort of. That's very interesting, Adrian. Please tell me more. By indulging her in her fantasies and stories, I was able to glean more of an understanding of Adrian's anxiety surrounding her home and parents. The symbols of Adrian's stories seem to carry their own traumatic weight, and her exploration of the basement may very well be a vehicle for the conveyance of her anxiety. Whatever might come of our next meeting, whether she will engage in similar make-believe, I will set down her story here. Adrian's story begins with her delving into the basement with a trash receptacle and the goal of cleaning up. She discovered one of the walls was covered in plastic bags. She went to investigate, intent on tearing away whatever they covered. Trash bags. Are these like sticks or some shit? Upon removing the plastic trash bags from the wall, she noticed their interior lining was covered in glass. Like a window? I offered. No, she said, like a mirror. Reflecting inward towards the animal they covered. I gently asked her what exactly this animal was. Here is where the material reality of the story took a turn from the explicitly fantastic and imaginary. Oh god, upon her discovery of it, at her gaze, it grew or extended its shaggy hair itself. Hair like the fur of a dog, I offered. No, she said. Not the fur of a dog, nor the hair on her head. It grew out towards her, the animal's hair reaching out. It was hard, standing almost straight like the hair on a brush. A bristle, I offered. Yes, she said. She was very afraid at first, but then very curious. I asked her what else was in the room. More things hidden away, she said. Things of Grandpa's as well. First, she found a hidden passage under the stairs. Inside were strange dolls, magic objects, naked, faceless figures. I heard these cryptic utterances and merely nodded. In order to keep the game of make-believe going, I only pressed for details where I thought necessary. The faceless dolls could be a simple metaphor for the anonymity she feels in her own home. The hidden passage, I am unsure of what to make of that. The revealing of the concealed seems to be thematic in her fantasy. The door under the stairs is but one example. Can I, like, touch this? Question marks. The darkness of the shadowy corner unnerves you. You cannot explore here without some form of light. Can I, like, go up? What the fuck? Can I go here? This looks like a safe. There's someone walking upstairs. Trash pile. What? Huh? What is this? Oh. Once she removed the panel and found the magical hidden passage, she was very specific about what she took. She found a magic book, a magic doll, a photo of her late grandpa, and magic glue. Take doll. A slouching doll, its material is rough and coarse. Search closet. Glue? All clean. This space will not be dirty again until next week. All-purpose glue. A photo of your late grandfather. Oh, God. Mr. PhD on the reverse side of the photograph. There is more text. Good luck on your trip to the Urals. Stay warm. Uh-oh. Papers crudely bound together to form a book. Eurasian steppe, shamanism, and the fusiform gyrus, an interdisciplinary study in sympathetic magic. Oh. There was a recognition of a particular pattern in fragments of documents related to magic and magical religious practices. Numerous sources were drawn from commentaries on laws related to the banning of sorcery and necromancy, compilations of folk charms related to love spells, hagiographs of saints and their encounters with devils. The list spans many centuries and a great distance from the Lebanon of the Khazar Khaganate to the border of the modern nation states of Russia and Kazakhstan. Okay. All clean. So we have glue and a doll. I interrupted to ask what she did with these magical, mysterious materials. Grow Grandpa, she explained plainly, and then without missing a beat, she continued on with her story. Feeling this was a potent symbol, I stopped her again to ask what she meant. Somewhat puzzled, I did not understand immediately, she explained slowly. Grandpa lives in the cage in the other room, the cage behind the door. They grew people in the cage. What? The cage behind the door? Uh-oh. A hastily written note. I repeatedly called your homes to no avail, and so I am forced to leave this here for you all. I found William sitting in the corner of the enclosure area, seeming severely concussed. Whiskers was gone in none of its usual hiding places. I immediately suspected the worst. The project thus must be suspended for now. I'm leaving up the usual mirrored coverings we use to keep the anthropoidic void sealed. I have done my best to lock up everything on such short notice. It is a hasty fix, but it will require some time to find a more permanent remedy. I am honestly hoping you do not find this note, as I intend to lock the house down too. I intend to race off to you to retrieve your lockbox keys. Don't worry about William's key. It and the rest of his equipment is almost certainly deep within Whiskers now. I pray you do not enter this room. No matter how it may appear, William cannot be helped and is only being kept alive as a means of continuing predation on the rest of us. I will say once again, no matter what state you may encounter William in, he cannot be helped. I have sympathy for the young man, I truly do, but I found on his person several photos of his late sister, which would imply certain risks he knew he was taking. Our extent research materials have now become possible liabilities, either criminal or professional in nature, so I have stashed them away. I believe I let you all know how I might do this if you were ever to experience an event such as this. I hope you all remember what I told you. Yeah, we're gonna go in. Beyond the door in the room, the cage was hidden, concealed in another cloak of inward-facing mirrors. A hidden cage lined with mirrors. It is strange, almost poetic, the elaborate fantasy of self-reflection, concealment, captivity. Is there like another side to the tarp? Oh, I did not see that on the side. The cage, she finally cast her spell. But it was confusing, she confided at first. She took the magic doll, the magic glue, and the photo of her grandpa, and she combined them, and she wished very hard. I can only assume in this fantasy the next her wish would come true, and what child's story would it not? Uh-oh. Generic human figure. Particular human representation. Glue together. A tangible symbol of intention and desire. She put Grandpa in the cage, assuming that was part of the ritual. She was not clear on how it worked. What precise instructions she could glean from her grandfather's magic book was complicated by her reading comprehension. She wished with all her heart, and then she told me she waited a while for anything to happen, and after that time she began to cry. I cried really hard. She said I wanted Grandpa to be back. I wanted my parents to stop being so mean. And it hurt me wish for Grandpa to come back, for my parents to be different. I could feel it through the walls, and it felt me through the air. I asked her what exactly she meant. She could only repeat what she said. By the time lunch was almost over, I said goodbye to Adrian, and she left to rejoin her class. I was left to consider our conversation. I believe the storytelling strategy I've employed was not unfruitful, but I must probe deeper if I can. Although I can be sure of nothing, I interpret the impressions I get may begin to ask me get an idea of the right questions to ask. Knowledge you acquired this week has given you access to certain topics or keywords you can discuss with Grandpa. Consider discussing when Grandpa emerges. You have also given the following keyword. Shell. This game's kind of like, yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of like creepiness, but I don't know. I don't know if this is like the, you know, it's like reading a book. It's like reading a book. All right, next game, people. Next game. As we continue. I mean, it's cool. It's got a vibe to it. I mean, I can see some people liking it and shit.